Out the park, niggas know me. Curtbone, little homie. All days, yeah. Been a road.
What's up, dude? It's Sherman Douglas, man. Good to have you in Changing Jewels, man. Good to see you, man.
Nice to be here, Kurt.
Yeah, good to see you, man. But first of all, man, I want to get right to you, man. I know that your nickname, the General. We're gonna get to that, but where the fuck the General come from? Before I start anything, man, where you get that nickname, the General, from?
I think that was in Syracuse. Somewhere in Syracuse it started, probably my sophomore year. Right. Just being a point guard, floor leader, the general, somebody who's running the show.
Oh, okay. What, a specific person gave it to you, like a player, coach, announcer?
I can't get it. I remember first being in the dome and I was seeing signs like Sherman Tank, and then so sign General. So I don't know exactly if anybody gave me that nickname, but I know that it happened in Syracuse.
Okay. All right, okay. I'm gonna take you back, man, from the beginning, man. I know you from Potomac Garden, Southeast Washington, D.C. I mean, one of the most notorious neighborhoods in the city, man. Explain to me, man, how did you, just paint me a picture coming up. Give me the day in life of waking up and walking outside in Potomac Gardens.
Well, actually, this growing up in Potomac Garden was, for me, when I was younger, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I played basketball, and one of the things, and I played football, and one of the things that happened to me was I played with a lot of older guys, and it took me a while to get comfortable or get picked even, because they'll look at you and say, nah, you too young, get away from here. And even after they stopped playing, I would pick up the ball and start shooting myself. And I can remember my mother buying me a hoop inside my house and had me to shoot, and I was shooting for a long time. But eventually, as you get older and your game become better, they started to pick me for 3-on-3, then 5-on-5.
Right. Yeah, but how the hell you avoid? Because everybody I know from the Garden, except you, they were convicted felons. They got rocket legs in jail, killed dead, or how the fuck you avoid that part of it?
Well, I think that you learn, one thing when I was young is you learn from the mistakes of people around the neighborhood or your older brothers and sisters. Right. And one of the things I did, I had a good brothers and sisters who would try to shelter me or keep me away from certain things. And there was a lot of elements that I did see in Potomac Garden that were bad, and there was some that was good. And I'm glad that I had older siblings to keep me away from some of the things that was happening in the neighborhood.
Right. And speaking of your siblings, how many siblings you had? How many people?
Two brothers and two sisters.
Two sisters. How many bedrooms you guys stayed in?
It was a 3-bedroom apartment.
You had 5 of y'all total.
Yes.
And your mom.
Yes.
And your dad? Anybody?
Nah, it wasn't around.
God damn, how y'all make that work? How many's the room?
Well, you got to make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, you get bunk beds, you get them side by side, and you just got to make it work. It's not going to be convenient for everybody. Right. It was people in Potomac who had more siblings than we did. Right. But you just have to make it work. You have to make the best of it.
Right. And what other sports you play? Were you good at any other sports besides basketball?
I liked football, but in baseball, I wasn't really that good. Right. I can remember going to John Tyler Field. And we were playing. I remember they wanted me to play second base, so I was over playing second base. And they hit the ball, and they hit a rock and hit me in the lip. And I was like, oh, Lord, this hurts.
Right.
And one of the things that scared me away was people, when you're young, trying to throw a curveball, and it doesn't curve. And I can remember the coach telling me, stay in there until it breaks, and then you hit it. But when you 12 and under or 13 feet or whatever it is, that curveball don't curve. It's coming straight for you. And I saw somebody get hit in the head, and I think that was it for me with baseball. Yeah. that just took me away.
Listen, so but when everybody when people think of your basketball games, you always hear words like unorthodox, shoot off the wrong leg, short the wrong foot. So did you teach yourself that style, or somebody trained you? Where that style come from?
No, I think that the way I play, it was comfortable for me. It may not have been comfortable for other people, but it's comfortable for me. One of the things I learned when I think even high school and college is get your shot off, and they can't outjump the ball. So when I come and they say, oh, that's a nice floater, is you learn nobody can outjump the ball. So if you get it off before they can jump, let's just get it over the basket.
And that's a good, I mean, like you say, the podcast Changing Jewel, that's a good jewel that no one can outjump the ball. That's a hell of a concept right there when you think about that teardrop.
Well, you think about it and you see big guys coming, once you get into the lane, and you can see the big guy, he's going to step up. So if you can get it over more, just pull up, just stop and pull up and get the ball over him, you realize that he can't get that shot. But if you go deep into him, the advantage goes to him because he can close the distance on you and he can block the shot.
And when you coming up, you play AAU and
There was
any of that stuff?
no AAU. When I came up, I played Boys and Girls, number 9 Boys and Girls Club.
Right.
So that's what I played when I was in middle school or junior high. It was Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, I know you say you ain't had no AAU back there, but I even talked to Darryl Prue. I read something one way. He said y'all had a team where it was you, Danny Furry, couple of top of guys in the area, and y'all won a role playing people. Do you remember that?
We was in youth games, and I can remember that we won. I think it was in Georgetown, probably. This is probably early '80s, and we had a pretty good team. Mike Sampkinson was on that team. That's when I first met Darryl Prue and Danny Ferry. It was a good team. We had a lot of fun, and we played well together.
So the youth team it's like a baby, like a little baby, like a junior Olympic type thing?
Yes, it was sort of like a junior Olympics. It was like people from, I remember New Haven, Connecticut, New Jersey, a lot of cities, like probably Pennsylvania, somewhere in Philadelphia, on the East Coast that just get together and they play in the tournament.
Do you remember seeing any players back then that you actually met later on in D1 and pros, or you was too young to remember their faces?
Too young to remember
who they were. Okay. So now you over Potomac Garden, Southeast Washington, D.C. How the hell you get to Spingarn High School in Northeast? How that work out?
Well, this is what it was. Just going to Hines Junior High School, and I knew that I didn't play basketball my 9th grade year because I wasn't focused. And one of the things I wanted to do was stay focused. And it's easy not to be focused if you go into your neighborhood school. Right. And I wanted to go get away from my neighborhood school. My neighborhood school was going to be Eastern. And by me going to John Tyler, me going to Hines, I didn't want to follow the same footsteps. I wanted to change the pace. I wanted to grow as a human being. And this was one of the things that I've learned is to get outside your bubble, to see other things in life. And when I went to Eastern and I went to Spingarn, I saw that. I saw different people from different neighborhoods, and I fell in love with it.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, and that's a good thing. And you being that young, you had the fortitude to be like, man, I wanted to see something different. I'm just saying the same bull jive, and I just want to see something different.
Well, I learned that being young, and obviously when I was really young, looking outside my window and seeing my environment and seeing things that's happened outside my window. And when I went to either Hines Junior High School, I broadened my horizon and started hanging down Arthur Capers. And I was down there. And you see different people. You see other people being brought up different ways. And when I went to, I was thinking about going to Dunbar, but I didn't want to go that far. And so when I picked Spingarn, I looked at them, they, went there, and I just saw people from different parts of the city that I'd never seen before.
Okay. Well, me being an alumni of Spingarn, I'm glad you ain't picked Dunbar.
I didn't want to do that. I'm glad I didn't pick that either.
Right, yeah. So, man, you went to Spingarn, y'all ended up becoming the #1 team in the country. First, when did you know you guys had that type of talent, or did you feel it? Did you see that coming about? How did y'all get to that spot to be #1 country?
I knew that we had that talent, in our 12th grade year. I knew that the summer of our 12th grade year when we were playing up Sidwell Friends, and we had a summer league up there, and we didn't lose any games up there either. We were a good team. We had good chemistry, and I tell people all the time is there were probably other teams who may have had better talent than us, but nobody had better chemistry than us.
Right. Because y'all team, when you look at it, it wasn't no attractive. Like it wasn't very athletic. Y'all wasn't very tall, wasn't very strong. So It was just the chemistry and the coaching and
the chemistry, the coaching was outstanding. The chemistry was there. I think that for us taking our lumps in the 11th grade and losing games, I think we was 24-6 and losing games, losing tough games. We went through the battle. So we were battle tested, and our 12th grade year, it was basically smooth sailing.
And so y'all ran like a 3-guard offense. So who came up with that concept?
Coaches. I mean, you go with the best players.
Right.
So that's what it was. It was easy for him.
Right.
He evaluated and said, these are our best players. I'm going to go with this. And I like it because he understood this. I'm not going to coach to where my talent is. This is where my talent is. I'm going to throw these guys out here, and I'm going to have my offense built around these guys.
Right. And because you had Melvin Millicent playing a point guard, and people sometimes when they mention that team, you know what I'm saying, his name kind of one of the names that you don't hear a lot about, but he plays such a strong callous to that man. Would you speak to Melvin being the importance of that team?
Melvin is a guy who he had a lot of confidence. He was a very good ball handler, and he was a guy who got us in our offense. He got into the middle, distributed the ball, got Anthony Duncan and Emmanuel Jones easy baskets, and he ran our fast break. When we ran our fast break, we had me and Robert Smith on the side, and we picked up. He helped us pick up full court because we had 3 guards and we had to use our quickness.
Okay. For people around the world who don't have a background history of Spingarn High School, can you name some of the top players that came out of that school that they might have heard of?
Well, obviously, you know the big 2, Elgin Baylor and Dave Bing.
Okay.
And Earl Jones was there.
Right.
Obviously, Michael Graham was there.
Right.
Clarence Bootney Green, he was there. I mean, the list goes on and on of the
Right.
guys who was there. And I think that our coach, John Wood, always remind us that the name on the front of the jersey means more than the name on the back of the jersey. And you have a legacy at Spingarn that you have to uphold, and you have to fight, because a lot of guys had that jersey on, and we wasn't going to accept nothing less than effort. Didn't have to do with wins and losses. It's about effort. Even being down, we was down, and you were at some of those games. We were down sometimes, but we never accept losing. We wanted to keep pushing, and putting the pressure on other teams.
What's some of the jewels you learned from the coaches, Mr. John Wood and Robert Rail, that you apply to your everyday living outside of the basketball court?
Well, I think that one thing that Coach Wood did that no other coach did with me or with our team was, after practice, was some of the best knowledge that he ever gave us. It's sort of like what some of the guys speak about John Thompson is. He did, after practice, he would sit us down and would talk to us about life, about life skills, about what to expect life, his journey of what he went through, and saying how, just like you said about the guys in Potomac Garden, that's going to be the guys around dogs and other places. The people you see getting the fast money, it's fast, just what it is. It's not going to last long. It's not longevity. There's no 401k plan in this. So if you go to college, stick it out. And there was times in college where my freshman year, where things wouldn't go my way, that I didn't want to stick it out. But I can remember him saying some of the things that came true, and it gave me motivation to stick it out.
Okay. That's deep. You mentioned John Thomas, and that's one of the hot topic questions during that era was, how the hell Sherman Douglas didn't go to Georgetown? How did that come out? How did you go to Syracuse, one of the rivals? How did that play out?
Well, you got to be recruited, and I wasn't recruited by Georgetown.
John Thomas didn't recruit you at all.
I didn't receive no letters. So it was. Think about this, growing up in this area and seeing Georgetown play in the Big East tournament, Final Fours, and all those things, and all the success they had. I wanted to go there, but I wasn't recruited there, so I had to go with the colleges that was recruiting me. And back then, it was Old Dominion was coming on strong. They were recruiting me since my 11th grade. Rutgers, University of Maryland came on late. Connecticut came on late, and Syracuse came on late.
Right, yeah, because that was almost like a big barbershop conversation, man. You know, Sherman, John Thompson grew up right by Spingarn, so that was always a big question we wanted to know. But that's interesting to know that you never even received no offer from there.
I never received no offer, nothing from there, but I knew they had Michael Jackson was there, and I thought he was a very good player there. And even when Maryland was recruiting me, I always I saw it was named Keith Gatling was there, and Jeff Baxter, who I respect and I like. I always thought they were good point guards, and I said, why is he recruiting me? I don't want to go there and be like the third guy on the bench.
Right.
But you have to listen to people, and I remember Coach was telling me that early in the season, you have to stay in contact with some of these teams because the number one guy who they may be recruiting may go somewhere else, and you may fall be the number 2 or the number 3 option. So keep all your options open.
Okay, so now you get recruited to Syracuse. You coming from the number 1 team in the country. You're the top player in the earth. I think you got Player of the Year, and you get on Syracuse campus, and you see a guy, Pearl Dwayne Washington, up there at your position.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind?
Well, let me tell you something. I watched him in college. When I was in high school, and I looked at him and I said, "Whoa, that guy can play."
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you something. Another guy that I watched in high school, and I was like, if I had to guard him, I'm being tough. Was David Rivers? David Rivers had some moves.
Notre Dame.
Yes, and he had the afro. He had some moves. He had handles, and I was like, oh my God, these guys can play. But when I went to Syracuse and I saw Pearl, my first impression was him. He was a big point guard. I mean, he was about 6'2", 6'3", but he was physically big. And I was like, wow. And I saw some of the moves that he put on Georgetown when they was trying to press him in the guard, and he was making them fall and dance and do things. And I was like, this guy in the open court was just phenomenal.
Right.
One of the things I wanted to do was learn from him. And I knew I wasn't really going to play a lot my freshman year, but I wanted to learn. I wanted to push him, and that's what the coaches wanted me to do, just to push him, to learn from him. And that's what I wanted to do my freshman year.
Let me ask you, because it was rumored back there. I never got a chance to ask John Ward himself, but it was rumored that when you was in Syracuse and you wasn't getting sufficient minutes your freshman year, that John Thomas picked up the phone and called Bayham and kind of chewed into him?
I don't know about that. I never heard that one before. I don't know about that if he did or didn't. I mean, obviously he couldn't do that because of Pearl was there.
Right.
I got a little bit of time. I mean, when I look at Syracuse now, you look at it, I got time early in the season, St. Bonaventure, Cornell, Canisius, all the upstate schools. I got a lot of playing time because we were winning the game, we were beating them by a lot of points. But when it came to conference play, my minutes started to decrease. And I got a little, that wasn't the part I got frustrated. The frustrating part for me was the people who were recruiting after me. And I'm a freshman on the team, and the people they were recruiting was all guards coming in. And I was like, wait a minute, these guys are playing point guard position, and I'm a point guard here. I thought I was going to be the next guy. So that had me concerned and worried about, and then now you start hearing about Earl Duncan was the next point guard.
He's known point guard in the country, right? California?
He was in California. I don't know if he was number one, but he was supposed to be number. And I was like, maybe it's maybe time for me to leave. That would have me concerned more than anything else.
Right, okay. And one more thing about the Pearl, because like I say, these are only rumors. They were saying that sometime in practice that you guys would drop more than 5 guys on the presser to see if he can break the presser. Is that any truth to that, or that's just rumor?
I don't remember that. It could be rumor, but nobody really. I tell you, when we was in Syracuse, there were Georgetown pressed. I mean, Georgetown pressed everybody. Nobody really pressed us like that because they wanted to probably keep us in the half court. Georgetown pressed in Providence. Well, Rick Pitino, he pressed everybody. Right. Was his MO.
His concept. So when you played John Thomas, when you played Georgetown, was it an extra oomph that he ain't recruit you, or was just business as usual? Or
no, it wasn't an extra oomph because I think people around me, it could have been extra, but for me, it was about we was always fighting for first place. Right. So that was the main thing. And one thing you always respect about Georgetown was they were one of the teams that scouted well. They knew our offense. They knew what we wanted to do. They knew what we liked to do. And one thing you can learn from Georgetown is they wanted to make you uncomfortable. Right. So if it was a little elbow, a cheap shot here to throw you off your game, it was pressing you to get you out of your offense. And that's one of the things that I always tell somebody, no matter what you do, it could be boxing, it could be football, basketball, baseball, you can't let your person you're guarding be comfortable. You got to get him out of his comfort zone to make them feel like, okay, I'm into something.
Right. Well, I know from the outside, from us being fans and watching the game, it was like Syracuse and Georgetown was like the Crips and Blood. I mean, man, you got Charles Smith now. That was like a rivalry in our brain from being St. Andrews. Like they had a vote for number 1 team in the country, if I'm not mistaken. Right. And you guys, so going to the games, man, it was like, man, you with the Bloods or the Crips, man.
It was like that, and it was hard for me because locally everybody is a Georgetown fan. I was a Georgetown fan looking from the outside. I mean, because I grew up here, and some of the guys that I played with, or in high school or played against, I looked up. So, he's a nice player. I like his game. But I think I made the right decision, and I think Georgetown made the right decision. I think they had a hell of a team, a hell of a squad, and I think my style and my personality, it was better for me to go to Syracuse to see, like you say, even when I was younger, to see other people to get experience, and it really helped me out.
Do you look at you and Charles Smith as a rivalry? Did you look at it as a rivalry? You never did?
Never did.
Okay.
Never. It wasn't. I respect him.
Right.
I respect Mark Tillman.
Right.
I respect all those guys. I never looked at other people did. I respected Charles. I respected everybody on that team. I respect people who play hard. Right. Who don't take shit from nobody.
Right.
I have respect for that.
Right. Okay. And John Thomas and Bayham, How was their relationship? Was it because on the camera, like it was real buddy? Was it like that off camera, or did?
Oh, trust me, both of them wanted to kick each other's butt. It always been like that. I mean, that's just the way. It was a mutual respect, but each other wanted to win.
Right.
I can see when John Thompson when Georgetown beat us, he was like, yes. I can remember even before that day, when Manley Fieldhouse was closed before they went to the Dome, he was like, boom, they closed it. I think Syracuse had a 50-game winning streak at home, and Georgetown was the final game, and he said, building officially closed. I can remember Syracuse and Georgetown, they got into a fight before I was there. It was Michael Graham, I think, hit somebody, and Andre Hawkins was on the team, and I can remember coaches yelling back and forth at each other. It was like that not only with Syracuse and Georgetown, it was like that with Pittsburgh, St. John's, Villanova, and I can remember to this day, people always come up to me and I miss Big Monday, because Big Monday was Big Ten, Big East, and it was a battle.
Right, and that's a good segue, because my question to you now, I'm putting you in the hot seat. In that time and era, what was the best conference, Big East or ACC?
It was Big East. During that 80s, I think they had a better conference. Right there.
Who had the best one? Big East?
Big East.
So would you say the whole 80s, would you say early part was ACC, later was you guys, or you just said the whole 80s you think you guys were the best?
It was back and forth. I think early 80s, what happened was early 80s, Big East was top heavy. It had it was Georgetown, St. John's, Villanova, Syracuse. And then the rest was a fall off there.
Right.
Later on, Seton Hall got better. Providence got better. Pittsburgh got better. But in the early 80s, it was top heavy with those 4 or 5 teams of Georgetown, St. John's, Villanova, and Syracuse were really good. And then the other teams got better coaching. When they got better coaching, when Calhoun came, Pitino came, and those guys started coming in. Providence, Connecticut got better, and those it got better.
Okay, so now Pearl gone from Syracuse. The hype is down. Was the Syracuse going to a panic? Were they feeling comfortable? You about to get the keys, or what was the atmosphere like when he left?
They were unsure. They didn't know if I could play or not. They didn't know what was going on. It was always, how do you feel about being replacing Pearl? And I never looked at it replacing Pearl. I'm here to do my job, and I know my job was just to run the team, run the offense, do what I've been doing my whole life, which was easy for me. One thing I can say is I had an understanding of the game and what was going on. Each player, and one thing to get back to my high school coach, I can remember telling some guys had problems with plays on the team, and he was like, "Get 5 pennies, line them up, and draw and figure out what play we call them, because we can't have you holding up our show. One monkey ain't gonna stop no show." That's what he said. If you don't know the play, you're gonna sit on the bench. I had an understanding of, even then, the point guard, I have to know each one player. It's like being a quarterback of a team. I have to know what the wide receivers, the cornerbacks, and everybody, what they doing. I had a good understanding of that.
Out the park, niggas know me. Curtbone, little home.